Scott Podonchik. I head up the marketing team here at PhotoShelter. I already also work really closely with our partners and helping to bring new tools and technologies into the PhotoShelter universe to help our customers get their content not only in our platform, but out to the social channels and website extensions that they want to share their visual content with. And we're excited to be working with Slate, who will be giving a live demonstration today and kind of talk through the platform. We've got with us today Eric Stark, who's the co-founder and president of Slate. We kind of kicked off our relationship last fall and launched an integration with Slate in November of 2021. And this Slate team is really on quite a roll since then. They recently were awarded for sports innovation from the Sports Pro Ignition organization. They have some really exciting news. Last week, they were named by Fast Company to the most innovative companies list. So this team is really going places. They were founded 3 years ago by two former NFL social media pros, one of which is with us today. And Eric will share some of their origin story and kind of how they came together as a company. And since they launched, they are now serving the social media needs of the National Football League, the PGA Tour, Showtime, many top university sports programs, as well as beauty, fitness, and media brands. So they've really built this great client ecosystem of all innovative companies who are looking to do exciting things on social media, and Eric will walk you through some of the tools they've built. Just a note to any customers out there who are currently using both Slate and PhotoShelter, our integration is live. It's also free of charge. We can get you set up so that the integration starts working for you today. It's very simple setup, and our teams are both equipped to get you integrated into both platforms right away. So again, I'll note that this is a free integration, so a bonus there. And I'm going to turn it over to Eric for a platform overview and live demonstration. We'll come back at the end of the session for Q&A. So please enter any questions that you might have about how our platforms work together into our Slack community, and we'll come back after Eric's demonstration and handle those questions. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Eric, and he'll take it away from here.
All right, thanks so much, Scott. Great intro. I am going to share my screen here. And yeah, the purpose of my part of the call will be to give everyone an overview of really what Slate is from a high level, first and foremost, and then dive into the integration specific to PhotoShelter. As Scott mentioned, we have a lot of customers across sports and media and universities, share a lot of customers with PhotoShelter. And we knew from the outset that this was an integration that we wanted to build because the way our product works is it empowers creators to produce content in a way that's native for social and on brand. And a big piece of that, the first step of that, is what media are you going to use for your content? And that's where PhotoShelter comes into play. So we'll dive into that after a quick overview of what Slate is, how we're currently working with customers, and then we're even going to show a little bit of a live demo at how one of our shared customers, the World Surf League, is using both tools together. So to get started, just a look at Slate from a high level. Slate is a content creation platform that's built for brands on social media, and it works by allowing brands to activate their style guide elements and creative across social in a way that's streamlined, in a way that mirrors how native social media content gets created. And really, we built the tool out of our own experience. As Scott mentioned, I worked at the NFL as an international marketing manager, also worked for the 49ers as a social media manager. My co-founder, Michael, he was a video producer at the 49ers. So we understand the pain points of creating social media content, especially in the sports world, and having to turn that content around quickly in a way that, you know, is engaging to fans, but also true to the brand and services sponsors, services partners, services marketing department needs. A lot that goes into just getting that clip and posting it on social. And really, you know, the problem we set out to solve is that social media teams, they're not just button pushers anymore, they're creators, and they often deal with inefficient workflows when trying to create content that is consistent and on brand. So a few examples here from the Rams, a great quote graphic on the right in 4x5, you know, using some team photography on the left, you know, a clip that's captioned and branded for Reels. This content looks great. It's native, or it's optimized, I should say, for each platform. And it's also true to the Rams brand. But this sort of high branded content often takes a lot of creative back and forth between departments to get this properly produced, sized, approved, and then finally it's ready to post for social. Now that works for some content, but we know social is often very reactive, and the team needs to be empowered to be creators as well. You want your creative department producing the stuff that isn't as time sensitive and the bigger brand projects, and your social team able to produce their own content day to day using the brand guidelines that the creative department has set out for them to follow. The alternative to this back and forth creative process is just settling for what you get natively in social platforms like Instagram and TikTok. And, you know, more often now than ever before, content is getting creative natively for a few reasons. You know, content is more time sensitive than ever, seemingly across brands. Also, you want your content to look right for platforms like Stories and Reels and TikTok. You know, you're not going to take a heavily pre-produced commercial and put it up on TikTok, right? You want it to look and feel native. The problem is when creating content natively is you're often settling for off-brand elements. So this example here from the Rams, you know, they're using a font that is the same, you know, font that you or I could use on our personal accounts. That blue isn't the actual Rams blue. You know, they pick a GIF from Giphy that actually isn't on brand and is a little blurry. And they're doing this because, again, those social media teams, they're creators, they're reactive. They're not, you know, putting everything through a long approval process. They need to be nimble and be able to create on the fly. And they want this content to look right for Stories. What Slate does is it allows you to not have to sacrifice your brand when producing native social content. So you maintain that brand quality and consistency across every single social post and across all your marketing materials. You know, your Reels content will look native for Reels, but also have the same brand elements as your season ticket boxes or your big boards in stadium. There's that cohesion, that brand consistency, which is so important in marketing. Also speed and efficiency, right? So the ability to create content quickly and not have to sacrifice time to go back and forth with professional design tools. And again, making all that content feel native and authentic to each platform, which is crucial for engagement and success, especially on the newer platforms like Reels and TikTok. And that's what Slate allows through this content creation app, which really mirrors how native social gets created with kind of a brand skin on top of it. So now the Rams are able to produce that content in a way that looks and feels native, again, for social, but also totally true to the Rams brand. And they could do it in seconds with the swipe of a finger or tapping on the screen. Again, the way you would create normally natively. It almost looks as if this content is getting creative natively, except if TikTok or Instagram was made just for the Rams and their brand. And their brand designers are able to fill that app with any on-brand creative that they produce. So it's a way to empower your design team and your brand team to be able to have their fingerprint across more of the brand's content and creative. So now, you know, we often heard from creative directors that they would cringe when they would see their brand's Instagram stories because they would use off-brand fonts or colors, but they knew they couldn't produce every single Instagram story tile on behalf of their brand. So they kind of, you know, settled for that. They don't have to do that anymore with Slate. And the result is brand cohesion across platforms, again, in a way that looks and feels right for each platform. So you could see the Rams are using Slate to create reels with asset duration on their own fonts and colors, sponsored Instagram stories, watermarks for feed and 4x5, and also editing for Twitter as well. Now, this is really where PhotoShelter comes into play, especially that example of the Instagram feed post. There's media that's going to come from your phone if you're creating content in real time. But another big element of social media managers and their creative process is searching their libraries of media, getting those raw assets from photographers, resizing them, optimizing them for social, maybe adding some branding like a watermark, and then posting. And oftentimes our customers were downloading that media from PhotoShelter and then having to airdrop it to their camera roll, fill up their camera roll, bring it into Slate, edit it, and then post it. We've streamlined that process with this integration where our joint customers can now browse their PhotoShelter libraries directly within their Slate app, brand, and post. So they do this by connecting PhotoShelter to their integrations tab in the Slate web portal, and they could select whatever collections or galleries they want to get pulled in directly to Slate. And then what they're able to do is now search all that media right there from their phone without having to download it to their computer or their camera roll. It's pulling straight from PhotoShelter into Slate, and then they're able to brand and edit that photo or video directly in Slate and then post it to social. So I'll give you a more robust demo than this GIF here of how this actually works in a second. And really, this just kind of furthers our goals of making the content creation process as streamlined as possible. Having a partner like PhotoShelter, bringing together the tools our customers are already using, and really taking the entire kind of content creation workflow and streamlining it into one place with an integration this powerful. It's just saving so much time for our customers. And we, like I said, we have customers across kind of the sports media and entertainment ecosystem, and starting to move, more into that general brand space, as well as universities. So I'm going to stop there and transition to my phone screen, where I'm going to do a little bit of a live demo. Give me a quick sec while I pause the screen share and pull up my phone.
This is awesome, Eric. Take your time.
Appreciate that. Okay, I believe my phone is showing now, and I'm actually in the World Surf League app. Yeah, Larissa, just come on and holler if my phone isn't showing, but I think it is.
Yep, the phone is showing, but we have that the background screen that says tap to.
Okay, let's see. Let me stop sharing and then reshare.
Sure. It's all live.
Perfect. Cool. Yeah, that that background screen is okay because we'll show the media there in a second. So I'm in the World Surf League Slate app, and what I'll do as a content creator is I'll go to the media button down there, and it'll pull up my camera roll here. But also you'll see at the top is this PhotoShelter integration. So now this is loading every gallery, every collection that the World Surf League has in their PhotoShelter account, and it will update automatically in real time. So as new photos are coming in from an event from their photographers, this feed is just getting filled up. And there's a ton of media in here. But the great thing is PhotoShelter has such powerful metadata and AI tools. You're able to search all of that media directly from this Slate app. So if I'm searching for a photo of Carissa Moore, for example, I could just search her name and it'll pull up anything related to her. Again, that's tagged manually or through PhotoShelter's AI directly into this feed in the Slate mobile app. And I could browse and find the media that I want. And maybe I want to select this photo. And again, it's bypassing my camera roll on my phone, not taking up any storage there, not downloading it to my machine on my computer. It's going straight from PhotoShelter into Slate and dropping this media into my Slate workspace. And now to brand this content for the World Surf League, specifically, they had International Women's Day content from last week. They're able to just swipe over their phone screen and select this this branding. You know, I could also come into my graphics drawer and add any branding on top of there that I want. I'll stick with this filter just for the purposes of this demo. I could also double tap on that photo and edit it and move it around. And if I wanted to kind of align it within this creative. And now I have a piece of content that was created in seconds with media powered from PhotoShelter and the creative execution powered in Slate. And all I have to do is hit share and share that straight to Instagram story or any platform that I wanted to. I could also come back into Slate and turn this into a feed post. So if I wanted this in 4x5, I could bring it down into 4x5. Again, I could move that PhotoShelter media around within this workspace and then add any creative I want, whether it's a 4x5 filter, or maybe I just want to add a sticker for International Women's Day, throw it up in the corner there, and now I have a post for feed. So you can see how this really streamlines the content creation process, not just editing, posting, but browsing that media. And with an integration in PhotoShelter, you know, we're able to service our customers in the places that they're already storing and searching all of their media all in one platform. So I'll stop there and bring Scott back up for some Q&A, but hopefully that gives everyone a good understanding of this integration and why we think it's so powerful for our joint customers.
Hey, that was fantastic. I give you such kudos for a live demonstration. You know, not only are you, you know, relying on whatever Wi-Fi you've got and then piping it through GoToMeeting and hoping it ends up on people's screens, but it's a real proof to the belief in your technology that you're able to go live, and it was also really beautifully done. So just fantastic. You know, we love what you guys are doing, and you know, building on top of these content reservoirs that our clients maintain on our system, and giving them, you know, that last mile solution to brand and create on the media that they've invested so much time and resources into hosting on PhotoShelter is just terrific. So we have there's been a few questions that have come in through the chat, and I guess, you know, one of the first is, and you've sort of touched on this in the demo, but if you could maybe kind of walk through, like, what does the typical workflow look like from the image capture through sort of a real-time workflow and distribution? Is the typical use case happening, you know, during events, or is it more of a post-event experience?
Yeah, it's really both. You know, I think when we started Slate, most of our content was getting created during events. And one reason for that was that we didn't have integrations like this. So media was coming from camera roll most often, and it was seen as a tool for capturing something on your phone, branding it really quickly, and then posting it. And now with an integration like this, it becomes a place where a social media creator at a World Surf League, for example, could search the library for a Carissa Moore photo if it's her birthday, or there's doing some other content piece around that. So it helps become more of a place where you could produce content day to day as well as real time. We do see a lot of the PhotoShelter integration get used in real time as well, especially in, you know, the NFL and other sports customers where their photographers are posting to PhotoShelter galleries game day and using that as the central hub for all the different social teams and marketing teams to grab those photos and sometimes video to be able to edit. And again, like I mentioned, you know, that feed is updating in real time. So if I'm covering a game day, you know, oftentimes the social media person is in a press box or, you know, back at home getting in all these different inputs, whether it's media coming from Slack or somebody WhatsApping them or the professional photography coming through PhotoShelter, and they could use Slate as the central hub to find that, brand it, and post it. So yeah, it's happening both. It used to be more real time, but we are seeing a lot more kind of day-to-day content being created in the platform with features like these integrations.
Great. Well, beyond the sports space, which is just, you guys obviously built, a perfect use case for that real-time workflow, and also the ability to, create campaigns around specific moments in sport. How can you give us an example of how a brand like Showtime is using the platform?
Yeah, a few ways. One, there are real-time moments for brands outside of sports, especially pre-COVID, and now, we're seeing more and more brands kind of getting back into the real-time space, even ones that you may not think of as a real-time kind of content hub. I know Showtime was very active at South by Southwest, red carpets, premieres, but also, again, this kind of day-to-day need for social media creators to be reactive and to have an idea and then be able to execute it and have the tools at their disposal to do so in a way that meets the brand standards, right? So brands like Showtime in the media space are using Slate to add captions to videos in their own fonts without having to send those back and forth to a video editor to do, to be able to take in video library clips from shows or other elements that are pre-produced and make sure they could resize them appropriately for social, add a show watermark, and then just post it. Things that they need to do to kind of keep consistent, and again, optimizing for social media without having to kind of pull up advanced editing tools. And we're not here to replace the creative teams that are doing that work, right? It empowers the social team to do the day-to-day stuff while the creative team is creating those bigger video edits or those bigger kind of brand projects, freeing up everyone's time to kind of be more efficient.
Yeah, that's great. And I know we didn't really get a chance in the demo to really showcase the capabilities in video, but I know what I've seen from Slate as far as being able to create clips and then brand those clips and push that out in real time, from your phone is just, it's incredibly sophisticated, but super easy to use as well. So, terrific to see that you've really built a capability that supports more than just, standard photo files, but that you're working, in a video capacity as well. Help me understand, help the team, the group listening understand a little bit about sort of the creative packets that come from the brands. Like, how are they providing those assets? The frames, the sort of images that they can apply to a photo or a video. How does that come over from the brand's creative team?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it's a big differentiator, and it's really one of the reasons we built Slate was we didn't see, there's a lot of kind of editing apps out there where you could, add branding or creative to photos or videos, but they're all built for individuals or influencers with stock assets and a bunch of pre-produced creative and templates. Slate is basically white label in a way out of the box, where a brand skins it only to their brand specification. So no two Slate apps have the same templates or same creative. But the good thing about the good thing about it is for onboarding, it seems like that might be complicated, right? Like, okay, it's empty. We have to do all this creative work up front. Really, it's pulling from elements that brands already have, and they're already trying to activate in other ways. So things, if your brand has a style guide, if you have PSD templates, if you have a logo that you use as a watermark, if you have fonts and ways that you like to caption, we're not solving brands don't have the problem that they don't have creative, right? Like, they have very specific brand style guides and very specific kind of creative looks and elements. We help them activate those. So brands are often very pleasantly surprised at how easy it is to onboard with the creative they already have. And they're able to upload that directly to their own dedicated brand dashboard. So setting their hex colors, like dragging and dropping in their fonts or their PNGs or their GIFs. And then as they start to grow with the platform, they do start to create more Slate specific elements and assets, like animated overlays. And they start thinking about, all right, we have this big event upcoming, or we have this campaign. What filters can we create for Slate that then could be activated across the team? And it starts to become a part of their creative workflow. But onboarding really comes from, the elements they're already working with.
Yeah, great. Well, and I know you touched on it in the demo as far as the metadata, the search capabilities. We were excited as you guys were building out your integration last year is when we really rolled out our really robust AI capabilities, the roster identification, the face identification, and that Slate's been able to really take advantage of all that incredibly rich metadata to make this workflow even faster and easier. So it's not really a question, but it's just a moment to sort of celebrate the magic of technology doing so much work behind the scenes that can make creative people's jobs so much easier. We love the way you've been able to bring that in through the API so that it powers up your platform too. Related to sort of data and analytics, what are some of the Slate capabilities as far as any kind of analytics within the tool, so that brands and teams can see how the platform is being used? What do you report on, is one of the questions that came through.
Yeah, great question. So right now, a lot of what we're reporting on is specific to Slate usage. So we're not authenticating social accounts and like scraping, our customers' social data for reporting, but it is more about, how they're using the platform and what they're exporting in most often, right? Like what features they're using, what their team is activating on. What we're talking about building up towards is the ability to have analytics by creative element. So starting to see, what creative actually performs better. Now we're a little bit a ways away from that. We don't have that kind of robust analytics platform yet. But the first step of that is more robust data about which assets are being used. And especially for the bigger organizations, that starts to be really interesting, where you could see, okay, our creators are using this asset more than this other one. This campaign is being activated on. Sometimes Slate is being distributed to creators like brand ambassadors and influencers and seeing what they're using. But eventually we want to get to a place with analytics where you're able to actually see what creative elements perform best for you and which ones maybe aren't getting used or aren't performing, and start to optimize your creative based on that. But that's a year or so down the line for us. We haven't dove into that. We're pretty hyper focused right now on building a web experience. Right now, that creation is only happening on mobile, and the web is where you upload all of your brand creative assets. But we're going to build a robust web creation platform, which, like you mentioned, Scott, will be very big on quick and easy video editing with brand assets. But one thing too I wanted to mention on top of what you said about AI and metadata, something we've been thinking a lot about, especially since integrating with you guys, is now all of a sudden we're pulling in media that has rich metadata in it because of the technology that you provide. What could we do on our end, like you said, kind of that next step in the process to leverage that metadata and help make the content creation process even easier? And one thing we're thinking is, if that image of Carissa Moore obviously has that metadata on it, and the World Surf League has creative assets related to Carissa Moore, could we recommend that? Could we pull that up? Could we pre-create content that they could easily choose from and maybe edit and make the metadata between the creative assets and the metadata between your media kind of join together, and an analytics layer on top of that would make it super powerful.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, as much automation as possible is using the power of computer technology to make the work easier is I think something that we're all focused in on all of our platforms right now. So I'm glad to hear we're aligned there too. And one of the things for those who are attending, PhotoShelter over the last call it 9 months has really prioritized video development technologies here at the company. to better serve video, to allow, for much quicker upload, download, visibility, be able to, scrub through a video, different players. Like basically, we've done a lot of video enhancements. So the fact that you've integrated not only on the photo side but the video side, as our clients start bringing more video onto our platform, I think that the opportunities for us to collaborate even deeper in that space are all right there in front of us. Speaking to that though, with video files and the size that we're dealing with video, are there any what's the sort of technology solution to move a big HD video off of PhotoShelter into Slate? How does that process work? Are there limitations in file sizes, or are you guys making a sort of web ready, social ready version of an asset?
Yeah, we're always trying to export video, bring in video and export video in the highest possible quality. It's something that was a need from like the outset, and something that a lot of customers early on, or a lot of prospects that we were talking to, it was one of their first questions. It's like, this looks great, but is this going to reduce the quality of my media coming from an app like this and bringing it into social? Obviously, apps like Instagram will compress your video to a certain max that they set. But we export at the highest quality that the app will allow if you like go from Slate directly to Instagram or to TikTok. One thing we're talking about is the ability on export to kind of set your export quality. We don't have that right now, but that could help in terms of saving camera roll space, or making exports faster. Like if you're exporting a much longer video, obviously that's going to take longer to export at higher quality. Right now, a lot of the video that we're working with in the mobile app is short form video. So we don't run into a ton of issues in terms of loading and exporting. But like you mentioned, with the web creation platform that we're building, we do see that as being a video editor for short form, but also for longer form content, especially as platforms, start to support longer videos. And having that control over the size that you want to create in and export in will definitely help. But our goal is always to keep the highest quality that the platform that you're posting to allows.
Yeah, beautiful. So we all love to. We both have such incredible customer bases and such amazing innovative brands, just making magic happen in across so many different categories. And it's always a massive point of pride on our side to see what our clients are doing with their assets as they leave our platform and go serve their needs for a brand. I'm sure you guys see that all the time as well. Are there any brands that you sort of would note that are using Slate to its fullest capabilities and just sort of blow you away with the campaigns they've developed?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. It's hard to boil it down. But some that come to mind are, we looked at the World Surf League. They've been doing an amazing job. The NFL always does a great job as well. We work with a few different teams in Australia that are really kind of blowing us away in terms of how they're able to create content. Different NRL teams in that market seem to be really like innovating. It's no surprise that a lot of the NBA teams that use Slate use it really, really well. The Clippers, the Knicks, the Rockets were one of our first customers. They really stand out. LA Rams, obviously they were in a lot of our examples there. They're always an innovator on the platform, and they use it in a way that's so clean and so consistent, and really looks like it fits. Obviously them winning the Super Bowl this year provided a lot of content examples from them. But yeah, there's so many. I can kind of just think of our customer base and start listing them off, but those are a few that come to mind immediately.
Another question just came through. I'm not 100% sure. I'll read it and maybe this will make sense, but does it allow for transitions and movements of content, or is it typically overlays and stickers?
Yeah, good question. So we do have on the mobile app a video editor where you could edit different clips together in a timeline. There's no transitions in between those clips yet, but it is something that we're building where you could add transitions between video clips. The other thing we're talking about building is like open cards and end cards as elements that aren't just overlays that you can quickly add to the front end or back end of a video, whether that's a sponsored one or just kind of a logo kind of lockup. We do have overlays that are animated that some customers use as transitions, whether it's like a wipe overlay or an open or just kind of lower thirds that move in and out. Yeah.
Nice. Excellent. Let's see. So I think we've hit on a lot of the questions. You know, I would make one last point to those who are still listening in. If you are a Slate and PhotoShelter customer and you're not currently using the integration, let's get you signed up. Let's get the integration live for you, because you've invested in both tools, and the services are super complementary. And again, you know, we're not, this is a complementary integration as well. And we want to see as many of our brands, shared brands as possible, work between the two platforms. And those of you who may be on one platform or the other and want to learn about how we can build a solution for you, a workflow solution that allows you to kind of get the best of both worlds, we're available for that. If you're in the Slack community, there's some channels that you can reach back directly out to for scheduling a demo for either platform. We will also offer you know, free trials for PhotoShelter if you're within the Slack community too. So, you know, definitely take us up on that. And you know, we'll continue these dialogues. I know, Eric, you and the team have been involved in some of our summits in the past, so we'll continue to sort of, you know, showcase how our platforms are working together. And finally, I just want to congratulate you again and the Slate team on the recognition that you've gotten. The Fast Company Award is extremely prestigious. So whoever's doing your PR right now, congratulations to them, because that's an amazing list to get on. And then the one last note, I know you've got a big event coming up this weekend, and we're excited for you for your wedding. And I thank you very much for making time for this in what's typically a pretty crazy week preparing for your wedding. But we wish you nothing but the best. Have an amazing celebration, and share some pictures after.
Awesome. I definitely will do. Thank you so much, Scott. This was super fun. And yeah, we're super excited to be partnering with you guys and see a lot of potential into the future to do more with PhotoShelter.